Welcome in to another episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today, I'm looking at some 2026 Dynasty stashes. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. So, the first player, Devin Neal. And Neal is on the radar right now because of Kendre Miller's injury. Miller suffered a torn ACL in week 7, which rules him out for the rest of the season. And we know that Miller has missed a lot of time with injuries. I don't think we can count on Miller. I don't think the Saints are counting on or relying on Miller anymore. So I think he's pretty much gone. Obviously, Neal hasn't done anything this year. He's 3 carries for 10 yards in 3 games that he's played, and that's okay. He's a 6th-round pick, didn't get an early chance. We've seen with running backs, sometimes only one running back plays at a time. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get an opportunity, and now Neal will have an opportunity. Now, I'm looking again in these videos as we turn to the 2026 stashes part of the year. Why could this player develop not only over the rest of this year, but going into next year? And Devin Neal has a strong college profile. He had over 1,000 rushing yards in all 3 of his final college seasons. He also totaled 49 rushing touchdowns, 77 receptions over 4 years. He was a productive running back. He did it at Kansas, a Power 4 school. So it wasn't like he was doing it against weak competition. I liked Devin Neal in the pre-draft process. I was surprised that Devin Neal fell to the 6th round. I thought late 3rd, 4th round was about right for him. And, I would not be surprised if Devin Neal produced in the NFL. Wouldn't surprise me based on his college production. Now, Alvin Kamara is already 30. The Saints can save $8.5 million. A lot of people look at the cap. It's not the right way to look at things because cap is a little more confusing. At the end of the day, the Saints can save $8.5 million in cash by cutting him next year. That's $8.5 million. When it hits the cap is a little different. But that's $8.5 million that will not hit their cap if they cut him. I don't know if the Saints will keep him around. He's been older and ineffective. And even if they do, Devin Neal would have an opportunity to compete for a role. So that's why I'm talking about Devin Neal as a 2026 Dynasty stash. And it's also timely with Kendre Miller's injury. Now, the next player, and I think this is actually probably one of the biggest 2026 stashes, is Mac Jones. He's played really, really well in 2025, stepping in for an injured Brock Purdy. And I think his value could go beyond that. In 5 games, 67% completion, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 7.2 yards per attempt, 280.8 passing yards a game. That's a lot of volume. Essentially, he's putting up identical efficiency stats to his 2021 rookie year. Literally almost the same. Identical. Except for the passing volume because the 2025 49ers are a superior offensive environment. But essentially, in 2021, when he was a rookie, started for the Patriots, put up almost identical efficiency numbers to this. So maybe he was just in a bad situation and he was always fine. I'm not saying he's great, but fine. He was a low-end starter, high-end backup, borderline starter type. He hasn't delivered much for fantasy because he's only had 6 touchdowns in 5 games. The touchdowns haven't gone his way. 6 touchdowns in 5 games on 280 passing yards a game is a little unlucky. So it could have gone in a better direction for him. But he's been a valuable asset in Superflex for sure. Now, Jones is pretty good, right? I mean, he's playing at a starter's level, I would say right now. I mean, it's very clear. Many NFL teams are desperate for quarterbacks. Now, I hear a lot of dynasty analysts, totally uninformed. They don't know anything. Dynasty analysts are talking about, well, Mac Jones will sign in free agency next year. Those people clearly have done no research because Jones is under contract for next year. So he's not going to be signing somewhere else in free agency. Those dynasty analysts, the very lazy dynasty analysts, they're not paying attention. Now, that doesn't mean that Jones can't be on another team next year. This was a great piece of business that the 49ers did because they have Jones under contract. Now, we saw they traded Jordan Mason this past offseason because they had other backups. Now, Jones isn't a free agent, but honestly, if another team comes and says, we'll give you I don't know if it will cost a second, but a 3rd-round pick for Mac Jones and, maybe a 3rd and a 4th or something to become their starter or a bridge quarterback Would 49ers turn it down? Maybe, but probably not. They would probably let Mac Jones be a starter somewhere else instead of just hanging on to him and causing all of those issues. But it's a tradable contract. Other NFL teams will be interested in Mac Jones. It'll be something to watch in the offseason. And yeah, I think there's a good chance he's a week 1 2026 starter, to be honest. And that makes him a great 2026 Dynasty stash. Now, next up, Kyle Williams. And Kyle Williams has not done anything in 2025. I just haven't completely given up on him. 2 catches, 20 yards, 5 targets in 7 games. Again, nothing. But I do think there's some hope in the future. I don't think it's totally over. He had decent draft capital. He was drafted with the 69th overall pick. It's an early 3rd round pick. We've seen that Mike Vrabel, the Patriots head coach, brings rookies along very slowly. Trevion Henderson has been, well, not used. Kyle Williams, really not used. And I do think it might take a little bit of time. Now, Drake May has obviously ascended to be a high-end dynasty quarterback. As a passer, I think he's getting there as well. Been really, really good. And I'm waiting for the passing volume to go up even more. And I think that might happen as his weapons continue to improve. Speaking of those weapons, Stephon Diggs has been fine, but he's 32. Hunter Henry is old. There's not much else there. I'm sure they're going to add other players. They have Kayshon Boutte, who's been okay, and then a bunch of other guys. I do think there's an opportunity for Williams to carve out a role. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for a wide receiver. It's not happening this year. That's why I think we're talking about Williams as a 2026 dynasty stash, because that's when it would happen, right? It's just not going to happen in his rookie year. But in his final college season, he had 70 catches, 1,198 yards, and 14 touchdowns. He was not a bad player, not a player with no college production. There was college production for Kyle Williams. So I'm hoping that we see it translate maybe a little bit down the stretch, flashes a little bit. Remember that happened last year with Kayshon Boutte, right? Kayshon Boutte flashed a little in 2024, and then he's been a little bit relevant this year. Maybe we can get something similar for Kyle Williams. We're talking about deep players here. So that's why I wanted to just mention him, since he's been kind of off the radar pretty much for the whole season at this point. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. And it kind of is relevant. I mean, the 2026 Dynasty Stash is a good reminder that I do year-round Dynasty content on the Patreon. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT50. You can click on the link in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasyadvice, and sign up. You can get all my rankings, including weekly start sit, access, and dynasty rankings, of course, access to the Discord write-ups, which I do about every single NFL game. I even did one about last night's game. Patreon-only videos, direct message fantasy advice, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. Tiers begin at just $6 a month, $3 with the discount. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my Why You Should Join the Patreon videos on the channel. They're on the homepage under Patreon promos. And again, I really appreciate everyone who signed up. A lot of people have signed up for the Patreon recently, and it's really helped the Patreon grow and, become a bigger space. A lot of people talk about what I should say from the Patreon. They give me advice on what I should say. I will say one thing that I think maybe doesn't come across, someone suggested I bring this up, is the Discord community. Some people, from the way I talk about it, some people think, well, maybe there's 10, 20 people. There's like 200 more people. A lot of people are very active. It's a very active community in the Discord. So I think you'll really benefit from being in there. It's one of the things I really try to emphasize as part of the Patreon marketing. And I also post all of my takes in there. So you get to interact with me every single day. I don't take days off. So I'm in there all the time, and even in the off season as well. So again, 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using the code TylerYT50. Click on the link in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasyadvice. And with that said, I'll move into my next player. So next up, Jarquez Hunter. And Hunter's a player. It's interesting. I talked about Hunter on the Patreon during rookie season. I really liked him. I liked him as a prospect, but he hasn't fired at all. And we know that sometimes running backs get blocked. He has not played on offense in 2025. So he's been, if you took him with a pick, he's been a total nothing. But I kind of like him for the future for a few reasons. One, Sean McVay brings rookies, especially running backs, along slowly. Kyren Williams had 35 carries and 9 catches as a rookie. Blake Corum played every game and had just 58 carries and 7 catches. Sean McVay doesn't give rookie running backs much of a chance, but both of those players got a lot more involved in year 2 than they were in year 1. Now, Hunter was a 4th-round pick. I know that's not great draft capital, but most teams don't spend a 4th rounder on a running back unless they have some plan for him. You don't typically spend a 4th rounder on a running back, just have him sit on the bench forever and do nothing. That's a lot to spend on a running back when you can just get random guys off of waivers to fill the roster spots. Now, Hunter was a really good prospect. He averaged 6.3 yards a carry over 3 seasons at Auburn and had 1,201 rushing yards in his final season. Was a strong college prospect, efficient runner, played in the SEC, showed receiving ability, and scored touchdowns. So the reason I talk about him as a 2026 Dynasty stash is that the opportunity is probably not going to happen right now, but I do think he's someone who could break out in this offense. I liked him much better than Blake Corum as a complement to Kyren Williams. Maybe we see that next year. We're probably not going to see a change on the fly this year, but he's someone where I'm probably going to try to keep Hunter on my roster throughout the offseason, if that's at all possible, because I don't like to give up on talented young running backs who had some draft capital that I kind of believed in. Now, my final player, and this is definitely a 2026 stash, Ryan Flournoy. This is the deepest player I think we're talking about on here. So far, he actually has 13 catches, 179 yards, and 20 targets. But this is not the full story because all of his production came when CeeDee Lamb was out, which is interesting. Now, let's dive a little deeper into Flournoy's performance so far this year. He's had 0 targets in the 3 full games Lamb played. So he's not going to be relevant the rest of the year. But he did produce in the other 4 games, including the one where Lamb left with injury. And he produced kind of more than I think you would think. He averaged 3.3 catches, 44.8 yards, and 5 targets per game from weeks 3 to 6. He played a 56.7% snap share in week 5, 69.1 in week 6. And we saw that Jalen Tolbert is not it. Cavante Turpin is a gadget guy. Flournoy really did actually deliver in these games. Now, George Pickens is a free agent after 2025. And with the way Pickens is playing, with the money outlaid to Lamb, Ferguson, and Prescott, it may be tough to retain Pickens. And they might be able to do it. But I like that we've seen something from Ryan Flournoy in this offense. He had a 114-yard game in week 5. This is a deep player. Again, we're talking about deep leagues, deep stashes. But if we're talking about deep stashes, especially at wide receiver where stashes are hard to find, Ryan Flournoy checks all the boxes that I'm looking for a deep 2026 Dynasty stash. So I have a couple of Patreon questions and then I'll wrap up the show. The first one I think is very interesting. I'd like to hear your thoughts on how to value 26 versus 27 picks if you haven't covered that already. Well, I've definitely covered that already, but I'll cover it again. Tangential question, is the 26 class actually that bad? And then you kind of went on to say people are not interested in 2026 picks, only 2027. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things here. And I've talked about this on the Patreon a lot. But a lot of people were saying the 2025 class was bad, right? Oh, it's bad. It's terrible. We don't want any of the players in that class. But now people are saying that, oh, I love Emeka Egbuka. I love Tyler Warren. And there's other players in the class that they still like. So they were not right about the 2025 class being historically bad. A lot of the running backs have actually been good as well. Tedero McMillan's also been pretty good for my liking. So it hasn't been bad. As for the 2026 class, a lot of people are saying that class is bad too. It's not actually as bad as people are saying. I guarantee you when we get to the rookie season, people are still going to want the rookie picks because there's nothing else to do. In terms of valuing 2026 versus 2027, a lot of people, I remember in 2022, people were saying the 2022 class is horrible. I want the 2023 picks. I hate the 2022 class. It's all terrible. And that wasn't really the case, right? I mean, the 2022 class gave us a lot of good players, including Drake London, Garrett Wilson, and, other players as well. And the 2023 class is okay, but it wasn't the game-changing class. That was actually the 2024 class. So, no, it's not actually that bad. Yes, I'm interested in trading for 2026 picks at a discount. A lot of dynasty analysts limit themselves. They think that you trade for a pick and then you can't trade it again, which is a mistake. So, yeah. The answer to this is no. It's not as bad as people are saying. And, okay, this is more of a review, which I like. Your content has been the difference in taking my teams from good to great. I love that. First in value in all 7 of my leagues, and I'm a contender in all but my rebuild. And you also mentioned that the rebuild is my biggest gap up on the rest. Yeah, I mean, I am very good at helping you manage your dynasty teams on the Patreon. At the end of the day, these videos are static videos. A video is not going to make something happen for you in your league, right? It's not. It's not going to create a dynasty trade. It's different for like start sit. Video tells you who to pick. That's the same thing. A trade, a league, team management, it doesn't work that way. A static video is not going to do that for you. So I appreciate this. And a lot of what I deliver is that type of interactive, day-to-day advice on how to get your dynasty team there. The videos and the YouTube are meant to be like a window, a small little peek into my thinking. But if you're looking for more, there is more. I talk about it all the time, and you hear it in some of these reviews and questions. There is more. I do more. You can get more on the Patreon. But if you like me and want more, it's going to be for patrons. It's not going to come in any other way. So, again, I appreciate this. And I'm looking forward to seeing more people join the Patreon. And maybe I can help your dynasty teams in the same way. Now, if you like the video, make sure to support the channel by subscribing. And don't forget to hit that new hype button to help the videos in the algorithm. Plus, hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops. Plus, if you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon. Dynasty content year-round. I've got start set content in season. 50% discount at all tiers using code TylerYT50. Every sign-up helps support my independent content. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.